Some of the guys talked about takeaways, and that you
no doubt
talked to them about that and the importance of that. Just one of the things that they said, that you placed a goal on them, and essentially you wouldn't have done that if you don't think that's achievable.
Right.
You know, what do you like about this group that, you know, that this can be a goal, that they can be?
I just think, you know, it's our job is to eliminate the big play. You get the ball back and score. I think that's what the biggest thing we always emphasize in our room. And anytime we can get our offense the ball back with Shannon and Darren back there, man, and the rest of these guys, I think it's going to be some special things that happen. But I think just emphasizing the takeaways and taking away possessions from other teams, the more and more that happens, and we saw what happened with that last year, but just continue to build on that and continue to keep talking about it each and every year.
I know this is going to be a basic question, but what's the key to getting a takeaway in terms of?
I think it's a mindset.
Okay.
I think it's a mindset. I think it's something you talk about every single day. We're creatures of habit, so it's something that we're literally talking about. We're actually physically doing. Every day we have some type of way of we're talking to one another about how we're going to get these takeaways. But every day in practice we talk about getting 3.
It seems to be, obviously, it's 2 things. You got to be in the right position, and then 2, physically, you've got to be able to come down with it. You know,
no doubt.
Have the ability. How do you work both of those things together? You know, together.
I think it's just practice. Big thing that I always try to tell the guys is it's the mindset that we were just talking about, but more so than not, like, you got to be able to practice it. So our emphasis is getting 3 takeaways a day. We got to go practice taking the ball away. We got to go practice going to go score once we get the ball. But just having that mindset and being obsessed with it.
I assume just hearing you say 3 a day, that seems to be great in terms of you're not just showing up on a Saturday, let's pick off 3. Like, you know, your daily basis of, like, we have a goal daily.
Oh, yeah, it's a 1-0 mentality every single day. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how many we had the day before or the day tomorrow. It's all about where our feet are right now and making sure we get 3 a day.
How about physically, tackling with where your group needs to get to, where they are, how you kind of envision them, and the physical side of things?
I think we'll find that out once pads come on. You know, going through the summer, the guys put on some really good weight in the weight room with Coach Irv and his staff. They did an awesome job there. I think the biggest thing now is just the mindset behind it, building the mindset. And once we do put these pads on, but every day we're going to do some type of tackling drills. Every day we're talking about tackling, whether it's I call it more of like a fit tackle, fast imaginary tackle, or we're still like visioning it and we're tagging off like we do in practice. And then, when pads come on, that's when guys get to go to the ground.
You talk about mindset changing. I think when you said that, I think about Poyser year 2, kind of what you're looking for him. It seems like, you know, just with what you guys lost, he's here and he's been through it. And kind of where you see him already, the differences in him from a year ago, essentially a year ago.
I'm just looking at it as a whole, man. Like, I think, you know, the things he did last year is what he did last year. I think now is more emphasizing to have that mentality to come in right now every day of making sure that he's continuing to be physical and aggressive. And that goes for the whole group. That's our standard in our room. Physicality gets rewarded in our room. We all know that. We talk about that on a daily basis. But that's something that we're going to show up every day and do and be 1-0 in it.
Physicality is obviously something Omar is bringing, but he talked about importance of technique and kind of the things he's already learned since he's been here. What's kind of been the goal in terms, or the approach with him and the things you're talking to him about in terms of him continue to develop?
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's all the guys, man. We continue to emphasize that every single day. Most and foremost, like, we're trying to protect them. And then not only that, I think the biggest thing we always talk about is everything's about angles. So just emphasizing that about it. And if you really look at it, I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, eliminating as many head injuries as possible. And so I think that's coming down to, because that's something we do every day. Every play we tackle. Every play we try to get a takeaway. So that's something that we overemphasize on a 1-0 mentality. So I think just continue to keep emphasizing that part of it, man. But one thing for sure is, like, we're going to tackle every single day.
You know, one thing with your position, and obviously it's with Heatherman and his play calls and stuff, but just with 1 high, 2 high safety, depending on the calls or whatever you guys go with, each game, each week, just the importance of being able to be effective as your group. Doesn't matter essentially how they line up. And the importance of, we've got to be good when we are 1 high, and we got to be good when we are 2, because it can't be essentially you don't want it to be one,
right,
and one's a weakness.
Yeah, I think it's just coming down to coming up with a good game plan. Coach Heatherman comes up with a great game plan every game, and how he sees it, envision it, and then it's my job to go in there and get that done of how he is envisioning the look and the pre and post snap looks of it all. But I mean, it's very, very important. I put a lot on our guys in the back end, because at the end of the day, we're the last line of defense, and we want to try to I guess give a different picture for a quarterback to let our D-line go eat, and we have a really good D-line, so I'm excited about it.
I know Coach Taylor talked about it in the spring, and I don't think we had a chance to talk to you, but how did you personally process the way the season ended last year? He talked about it was tough for him, it took some time. How did you and kind of maybe coaching your guys to it's not easy to get past the way it ended. That's my point. But how did you kind of process it all?
I think, man, to be honest with you, really at the end of the day, like, I went into the next day and went straight to work. We had to go on the road recruiting. It was kind of watch the tape, learn from it. How can we get better at it? And going into this training camp, some of the things that I can overemphasize that showed up later in the season, if that makes sense. But it's always going to start with the technique fundamentals, like day one stuff. Like, you can't eliminate the small, minute details, and I'm talking about literally whether that's hand placement, whether that's how you're going after a ball, whether you're in we call it more of like it's a fade ball, like you're in phase, out of phase type deal. I think it's coming back to the minute details of it all. So I think that was the biggest thing for me afterwards, but other than that, man, I went straight back to work.
You sense that's kind of the building? That's kind of how you guys had to be,
our leader, man, is all about that. It's want to know mentality, and then it's very next day, let's go. How can we get better every single day? So I think that's ingrained in us right now, and that's just how it kind of went. It was like, hey, that game happened, and then, to be honest with you, 2 days later, we were on the road trying to go 1-0 in our recruiting.
I have a feeling you're going to revert back to some of the things you already say when I say this, but just the approach to fall camp, the keys for your guys, maybe there's details, maybe there's all the things you're saying to be ready for season and the length of the season, but just kind of the way you're getting ready to approach this fall camp.
Yeah, approaching it more so than not. Like, we talk about communication breeds understanding. That's really huge in our room. It's huge all over on defense, just making sure everybody's all on the same page. That starts with the back end for sure, making sure we're communicating all the calls and all that. I would definitely say, like, the takeaways is a big emphasis, like we're talking about. The tackling shows up a lot, to make sure that we're always on the right pages of understanding our angles, going in the strike zone, which I call bottom of the numbers, top of the kneecaps, and then block destruction. That's a really big one. We got to be able to get off blocks. We saw a couple guys do that, and I'm not trying to revert back to last year, but that was one of the biggest things we talked about, is being ultra physical, getting off blocks to go make plays. But that's going to be another emphasis of it. And yeah, I think just overemphasizing these takeaways again. I really think that's how you separate yourself, by adding all of those things in there. Yep.